Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome, everybody. So, I've been taking this online course, Design Models, and we've recently discussed the Dick and Carey model. Today, I'm going to share what I've learned about this model and use some examples about how this model can be applied. Anyone interested in instructional design will surely want to pay attention. So, what is the Dick and Carey model? Well, while some design models focus on how to make the lesson plans and others focus on the delivery of the content itself, the Dick and Carey instructional design model, also known as the systems approach model, is one of the former. Its focus is on the delivery of the content. It's systematic in nature. The model is a procedural system including 10 major process components, 9 basic steps in an iterative cycle, and a culminating evaluation of the effectiveness of the instruction. All 10 steps are connected, and some influence other steps indirectly and influence others directly, like a system of interactions. So in the first step of this model, you want to figure out the instructional goals. What do the students need to learn? For example, if I was teaching a course on gap analysis, one goal might be that students would learn the 4 areas that need to be reviewed in a gap analysis. Another goal might be that students would learn how to quantify a gap or how to quantify a training priority. In the second step, you conduct an instructional analysis. In other words, you want to identify the skills your students will need to be able to learn the material. In the gap analysis example I mentioned earlier, I'd want my students to be able to analyze data, conduct basic calculations, and be able to develop relationships with subject matter experts so that they can gather the needed information to conduct the analysis. In the third step, you want to assess which skills your students have that you identified in step 2. So here, my questions might be, how well can they analyze data? How good are they at developing relationships? Can they do basic math? You want to be able to work within their skill set and develop those needs to ensure the lesson success. In step 4, you develop performance objectives. What will the student be able to do? The goals are detailed. For example, in the gap analysis example, one performance objective might be the student will be able to organize information gathered in the operational analysis phase of the gap analysis and apply that information when quantifying the gap. In the fifth step, you create a test or tests. These are criterion reference tests. What that means is that your test items must be consistent with the performance objectives that you developed in step 4. You need to be able to measure whether or not those objectives were met. For example, one test or quiz question might be, in your operational analysis phase, what steps would you follow to collect data about a specific job or group of jobs? Number 6, you develop your instructional strategy. You begin with an outline of your lesson plan. You might include how you will demonstrate what you want them to learn. You might add activities and decide when and what materials will be covered. For example, in the beginning of my class, gap analysis, I might have the students conduct a knowledge survey about what they know about gap analysis. In step 7, you develop and select your instructional material. For example, I may have a few videos depicting someone conducting a gap analysis. I'll also have to make sure I have all my test materials on hand. In step 8, you evaluate how the lesson went. This is called a formative assessment. Did the students seem interested and engaged? Did my videos go over well? Were some students engaged and others not in the activities that I used? You look at all that stuff. In step 9, you use the data from step 8, the formative assessment, to examine the validity of the instructional analysis, the learner analysis, the performance objectives, assessments, strategies, and materials. Then you revise as applicable. The final process then is to design and conduct a summative evaluation, which is an evaluation of the value of the instruction. Did it work out for you? Did you create a better lesson plan than you had before? Or did it work against you? Did you find yourself spending too much time on any one area? So that's it. So what's my impression of this model? Well, I see the Dick and Carey model as the ADDIE model on steroids. I mean, it follows the ADDIE process, but is much more detailed. So the first three steps in the Dick and Carey model are the A, analysis, and the ADDIE model. The next three steps are the design. Then they both have the development phase. Then everything from writing the objectives to the formative phase of the Dick and Carey model, where revisions occur, is the implementation phase of the ADDIE model. And finally, the summative assessment is the evaluation phase of the ADDIE model. But what's really different is the systems approach of the Dick and Carey model. All the components work together towards a defined goal and depend on each other for input and output. In addition, the entire system uses a feedback mechanism to determine if the goal was met. And finally, the system is modified until the goal is reached. So I like the model, and I think it would behoove any instructional designer to utilize this tool for effective designs. Well, that's it for today. We're out of time. I'll talk at you guys later. Until then, have a good one.